He looked down, confused, no release, just silence, no warmth, no end, just a quiet moment that felt deeply wrong. For many men over 65, this moment arrives without warning. No pain, no struggle, just absence. The kind of absence that rattles. You try to act normal to brush it off, but deep inside, there's a question you can't shake. Why isn't anything coming out anymore? This isn't just about sex, it's about identity. It's about the quiet ways aging rewrites the rules of your body, without asking for permission. And yet, no one ever prepared you for this. Not your father, not your doctor, not even the magazines filled with advice you never read. So now, you're left with worry, curiosity, and maybe even shame, when what you really need is truth, clarity, and direction. If you're experiencing a lack of ejaculation, or even just noticing a change in the way your body responds, you're not alone. This video isn't about scaring you, it's about informing you, because what's happening might be normal, or it might be a warning. Either way, knowledge gives you power. Power to make changes, to improve your health, and to take back control of your body. Let's dive into what really causes this change, what it could mean for your health, and what practical, proven actions you can take starting today. No gimmicks, no shame, just real answers that every man deserves to hear. And by the end, you might not just understand your body better, you might feel hopeful again. He waited for the moment he always knew. That wave, that release, that confirmation of something working. But this time, nothing. Not a drop. Not even the faintest sensation. Just stillness. For a few seconds, he stared, confused. Then came the fear, quiet, creeping fear, that maybe something had changed forever. For many men over 65, this is the moment they realize their body is shifting in ways they never expected. It doesn't come with pain, warning, or a dramatic signal. It simply arrives, subtle, quiet, and unsettling. One day, what once was automatic now feels absent. And because no one ever talked about it, you start to wonder, am I broken? Is this the beginning of the end? Let's be clear. The absence of ejaculation doesn't always mean something is wrong, but it always means something is happening. Your body, finely tuned over decades, has reached a phase where changes are no longer occasional, they're constant. And this one, though rarely mentioned, holds more emotional weight than most men care to admit. There's a deeply rooted connection between ejaculation and masculine identity. It's not just a function, it's a symbol. A marker of vitality, of youth, of ability. So when it disappears or fades, even if your partner says nothing, even if you act like it doesn't matter, inside, you feel the silence. You might start avoiding intimacy altogether. Not because you've lost desire, but because you fear the awkwardness, the embarrassment, the shame of nothing happening. And that fear, left unchecked, can spiral. It affects more than just your nights. It touches your confidence, your energy, even your will to take care of yourself. But here's the truth no one told you. This isn't the end of your story. This moment, this silent change, is actually a signal, a whisper from your body, saying something needs your attention. And the good news, you can listen, you can act, you can learn what's truly behind it, and what can be done to shift the tide. Because here's the secret, many of the causes behind dry ejaculation are reversible. Others can be managed. Some are even signs of deeper conditions that, if caught early, could improve more than just your sex life. They could save your overall health, so don't ignore it. Don't brush it off or hide in silence. You're not alone in this. What happened to you happens to millions, but the ones who reclaim control are the ones who ask the right questions. And here's one to start with. What exactly changes in a man's body after 65? That could explain this sudden silence. Let's go deeper. The mirror might not show it all, but inside, your body has been rewriting itself for years. After 65, that quiet transformation speeds up. Hormones shift. muscle tone fades. Organs like the prostate begin to swell, even if you feel fine. And slowly, without warning, the systems responsible for ejaculation, the glands, the tubes, the nerves, begin to operate on different rules. For decades, your reproductive system followed a reliable rhythm. The testes produced sperm. The seminal vesicles added fluid. The prostate helped push it all out with strength and coordination. But now, things are less synchronized. The volume of fluid decreases. The force becomes weaker. Sometimes nothing comes out at all. A major player here is testosterone, the hormone that fuels desire, energy, and sexual function. After age 30, it starts to decline about 1% each year. That sounds small, but by 65 or 70, the cumulative drop can be dramatic. And low testosterone doesn't just mean less drive. It can also affect the amount and quality of ejaculate. But testosterone isn't working alone. There's a delicate hormonal orchestra involved in male sexual health. LH, luteinizing hormone, FSH, follicle-stimulating hormone, prolactin, and even thyroid hormones all play roles. When one instrument falls out of tune, the whole performance can change. The prostate, too, is a common culprit. As men age, it naturally enlarges, a condition known as BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. While it's not cancer, BPH can press on the urethra and affect both urination and ejaculation. That pressure can reduce force or block the flow entirely, even if erections still occur normally. Blood flow also plays a crucial role. Healthy ejaculation requires coordination between nerves, muscles, and circulation, but aging arteries become stiffer. Plaque builds up, and just like poor blood flow can affect erections, it can also dull the mechanisms involved in release. Finally, the pelvic floor, a set of muscles many men never even think about, weakens over time. These muscles help control both urination and ejaculation. When they lose strength, control diminishes. That's why many older men also begin to notice leaks, urgency, or a loss of sexual sensation. And yet, most of these changes are manageable. They're not sentences. They're signals. Your body isn't failing, it's adapting. And when you understand these shifts, you can start working with them, not against them. So if you've noticed changes, less fluid, less power, or none at all, don't panic, don't hide. What your body is telling you isn't shameful. It's informational, and information is the first step toward action. But what if the real root of the problem isn't just physical, but hormonal? That's what we'll explore next. And the answer might surprise you. Most men know the word testosterone. Fewer know what it actually does, and almost none realize just how many other hormones quietly shape their sexual health until something changes. Testosterone isn't just the hormone of strength and desire. It plays a central role in the production of sperm, in regulating mood, and even in maintaining red blood cell levels and bone density. When levels drop, the effects ripple far beyond the bedroom. You might feel more tired, less motivated, more foggy in the head. And yes, ejaculation may slow, weaken, or stop entirely, but here's the twist. Testosterone is only the tip of the iceberg. Inside your brain, the hypothalamus sends signals to your pituitary gland to release two hormones, LH, luteinizing hormone, and FSH, follicle-stimulating hormone. These two chemicals tell your testicles time to produce. Without enough LH and FSH, even normal testosterone levels might not be enough to support healthy sperm production or ejaculation. And then there's prolactin. Often overlooked, this hormone, if elevated, can suppress your sexual function entirely. High prolactin levels can be caused by certain medications, chronic stress, or even small benign tumors in the brain. And yet, many men walk around for years with no idea their prolactin is too high, only noticing a slow fade in their sexual responses. Thyroid hormones also come into play. Both hyperthyroidism, overactive thyroid, and hypothyroidism, underactive, can wreak havoc on testosterone and libido. The thyroid regulates metabolism, but it also affects how your body uses and produces hormones across the board. And here's a curveball: insulin. Men with insulin resistance or diabetes often experience changes in hormone balance that affect ejaculation and overall reproductive health. Not to mention that high blood sugar damages the nerves responsible for orgasm and release. The truth is, your hormone system is a fragile ecosystem. A tiny imbalance in one part can throw off the whole network. That's why so many men chasing testosterone boosters never see results, because they're treating the symptom, not the root. So what can you do? Start by paying attention to your body's signals, not just in the bedroom, but in energy levels, mood, sleep, and weight gain. These are often your first clues. Second, prioritize blood work. A full hormonal panel, including testosterone, total and free, LH, FSH, prolactin, and thyroid levels, can reveal far more than guesswork ever could. Most importantly, understand this: hormone changes are not your fault, they are natural. But natural doesn't mean powerless. When identified early, imbalances can often be corrected through lifestyle shifts, medical guidance, or sometimes just better sleep and nutrition. And sometimes the cause isn't just hormones, but something hiding deeper in your body's structure, something you may not even feel. What if the real obstacle is something physical and invisible? Let's talk about that next. What if the problem isn't about hormones at all? What if your body is producing everything it needs, but something inside is blocking the way? This is the hidden truth few men ever consider. Sometimes the absence of ejaculation isn't about decline, it's about interruption. And unlike other warning signs, these blockages rarely cause pain. They don't scream for attention. They sit quietly, deep in your body, silently stopping the final step of a process you once took for granted. Let's break it down. Sperm is produced in the testicles, then travels through a long tube called the vas deferens. Along the way, it gathers fluid from the seminal vesicles and the prostate before it exits through the urethra. That's the full journey. But if any part of that path is blocked, nothing gets out. Scar tissue is one of the most common culprits. Old infections, even ones you never realized you had, can leave behind microscopic scars that close off passageways. Past surgeries, like hernia repair or prostate procedures, can also create internal changes that go unnoticed for years. Then there are cysts, small fluid-filled sacs that sometimes form near the seminal vesicles or prostate. These don't always cause discomfort. In fact, you might never feel a thing, but if they press against the wrong spot, they can stop ejaculate from flowing entirely, leading to what's known as retrograde ejaculation, where semen is redirected into the bladder instead of out through the penis. Yes, you read that right. Your body might still be producing fluid, but instead of exiting, it's being rerouted inside. When that happens, the result is an orgasm without any visible release. You may feel the sensation, but the visual outcome is missing. And for many men, this causes deep confusion, even distress. Some medications, especially those used for blood pressure, depression, or prostate issues, can also lead to retrograde ejaculation. These drugs affect the nerves and muscles that control the internal valves guiding the flow. When those valves weaken, the direction of the release changes. And again, you're left wondering what happened. Prostate enlargement, BPH, is another factor. As the prostate grows, it can physically compress the urethra or distort the normal pathway of semen. Even if the gland isn't cancerous, its size alone can create roadblocks. The danger here isn't just physical, it's emotional. When no one explains what's going on, you may begin to feel broken or ashamed. But understanding these silent blockages gives you power. These are real, tangible causes. And more importantly, many of them can be diagnosed and treated once. You know what to look for. Because what feels like a mystery is often a mechanical issue, a simple change in internal plumbing that's been waiting quietly to be addressed. But not every cause is hidden deep in your body. Some start far above. In the mind, in the breath, in the weight of unspoken stress. So what happens when the block isn't physical, but emotional? That's what we'll uncover next. Sometimes everything looks fine on paper, hormones within range, no visible blockages, no warning signs, and yet nothing happens. No ejaculation, no release, just a growing distance between what your body used to do and what it does now. That's when it's time to stop looking below the waist and start looking above the neck. The brain is the command center for everything, and when it comes to sex, it holds more influence than most men realize. Every step of arousal, stimulation, and ejaculation starts with a signal, a feeling, a mood, a thought, and when that signal gets lost due to stress, trauma, fear, or fatigue, the rest of the system falls out of sync. For men over 65, life's emotional load can be heavier than ever. Retirement might feel like freedom, or it might feel like loss. The kids have moved on, friends have passed, bodies have changed, and the pressure to perform can turn into a quiet weight, one that builds over time. Performance anxiety doesn't just affect young men. In fact, older men often experience it more deeply, not because of inexperience, but because of expectation. You remember how things used to be, how easy it once felt, how automatic. And now, every moment feels like a test, one you fear, failing. And here's the hard truth. Anxiety is the enemy of ejaculation. When you're anxious, your body produces cortisol, the stress hormone. It tightens blood vessels, shortens breathing, and puts your nervous system on high alert. This fight or flight mode is the opposite of relaxation, and ejaculation requires trust, calm, and surrender. Without those, the system simply doesn't engage. Depression is another invisible wall. It dulls desire, blunts sensation, and sometimes you don't even realize you're carrying it. You just feel a little less excited, a little less curious, a little less alive. And with that quiet fading of joy, your body stops responding, not out of failure, but out of fatigue. Even unresolved grief can block sexual function. The death of a partner, the loss of a role, the feeling of being unwanted or invisible in a youth-obsessed world. These wounds linger in the nervous system, and no pill can solve what the heart hasn't healed. But here's the good news. Your brain is capable of relearning. With the right support, emotional, psychological, even spiritual, many men regain not only physical function, but deeper emotional satisfaction than they ever thought possible. Sometimes that support starts with a simple conversation, with a partner, with a therapist, with a journal, with yourself, because the body listens to the mind. And when the mind is safe, supported, and unburdened, the body often follows. But emotional healing alone isn't the full answer. Your body also craves rhythm, energy, and restoration, and that starts with how you treat it every single day. What if small daily choices, like what you eat, how you move, and how you sleep, held the key to your vitality? That's exactly where we're going next. There's a quiet power in daily habits, one that most men overlook. You don't need a miracle pill or an expensive treatment to feel more alive. Sometimes it starts with the plate in front of you, the shoes by your door, and the way you end your evening. Let's start with food. Your reproductive system relies on tiny nutrients to function, and some of the most important are often missing from a modern diet. Zinc, selenium, magnesium, and healthy fats play vital roles in sperm production, hormone regulation, and nerve response. Where can you find them? In real, whole foods, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, salmon, leafy greens, eggs, avocados, and even a small portion of dark chocolate. And don't forget water. Dehydration may sound unrelated, but your body needs fluid to make fluid. Semen production, blood flow, and tissue repair all suffer when you're running dry. Aim for half your body weight in ounces of water per day, and even more if you're active or live in a dry climate. Now, movement. You don't need to join a gym or lift heavy weights. Just start walking 30 minutes a day, rain or shine, around the block or at the mall. Walking improves circulation, balances hormones, lowers stress, and supports the health of your pelvic floor. It also sharpens your mind and lifts your mood, both of which fuel sexual energy more than you might imagine. If walking feels easy, add light resistance, body weight squats, push-ups against the wall, or light dumbbells. These small efforts rebuild testosterone naturally and boost blood flow, especially to the areas that matter. And then there's sleep, the foundation most men take for granted. Deep, uninterrupted rest is when your body repairs itself. It's when testosterone is produced, when stress hormones drop, when your heart, your brain, and your reproductive system hit the reset button. Skimp on sleep, and your body enters survival. Mode dice, not reproduction mode. Aim for 7 to 9 hours, keep the room cool, shut down screens at least an hour before bed. And avoid alcohol and heavy meals late at night, as both can sabotage your natural rhythms. You might be thinking, can a better diet, some walking, and more sleep really change my sexual health? The answer is yes, because these changes don't just target your symptoms, they rebuild your foundation. They support your blood, your nerves, your hormones, your energy, all the systems that work together to create pleasure, confidence, and connection. And here's the beautiful part. These habits cost nothing. They don't require permission. And every step you take in this direction sends your body a clear message. You're not giving up. You're getting back in the game. But there's one more part of the body that most men forget. One that quietly controls everything from strength to sensation. And strengthening it could be your greatest turning point yet. Let's talk about that next. Most men over 65 have never heard of pelvic floor muscles, and even fewer know they have the power to strengthen them. But here's the truth. These hidden muscles may hold the answer to better control, stronger erections, and even a return to ejaculation. Think of the pelvic floor as a hammock of muscle that stretches from your tailbone to your pubic bone. It supports the bladder, the bowels, and, yes, your sexual function. When this group weakens, the symptoms show up quietly at first. Less firmness, leaks when you laugh or cough, a feeling of pressure, or a release that just doesn't happen. But when it's strong, that same hammock becomes a launch pad. It supports blood flow, enhances muscle control, restores confidence, and with just a few minutes a day, you can rebuild it. No equipment, no gym, no excuses. They're called Kegel exercises, and they've changed the lives of countless men, especially those recovering from prostate procedures or dealing with age-related decline. But here's the secret. You don't have to wait for a problem to begin. You can start now, right where you are. So how do you do them? Step 1, find the muscle. Imagine trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. The muscle you tighten is the one you want. Try it now, gently, and feel that slight lift inside. That's your pelvic floor in action. Step 2, contract and hold. Tighten the muscle for 3 to 5 seconds, then release slowly. Rest for the same amount of time. Start with 10 reps, 3 times a day. Morning, afternoon, evening. Build from there. With consistency, most men notice improvements within 4 to 6 weeks. Important tip: don't squeeze your abdomen, thighs, or buttocks. This is an internal exercise. You should be able to do it while sitting, lying down, even waiting in traffic. and no one around you will know. Beyond better control and strength, Kegels improve the quality of orgasms, help prevent incontinence, and then when paired with other changes like diet and walking, create a stronger foundation for healthy ejaculation. And maybe just as importantly, doing Kegels sends a message to yourself. I'm not passive in this process. I can do something. I still have power. You might be surprised how empowering that realization feels, especially when the results start to show in the most personal, private moments of your life. But let's not stop there, because while exercises, food, and hormones all play a role, the most powerful shift happens when you decide to take ownership, to break the silence, to choose dignity over shame. So in this final chapter, let's talk about what that decision really looks like, and how reclaiming your health might just transform your entire life. There comes a point in every man's life when silence feels safer than honesty, when it's easier to laugh something off, to change the subject, to say, I'm just getting older, than to admit something isn't working the way it used to. But here's the truth. What you're going through isn't weakness. It's a signal. And signals are meant to be seen, not ignored. Shame is heavy. It tells you to hide, to accept, to settle. But your body is still talking to you. It's asking for help, not pity, for movement, not retreat. And most of all, it's asking for action. Taking care of your sexual health after 65 is not about chasing youth. It's about honoring your life, your relationships, your energy, your legacy. It's about refusing to let silence write the ending of your story, because you are not alone. Millions of men face the same questions, the same uncertainty, the same quiet frustration. But the difference lies in what you do next. You can choose to stay stuck, or you can choose to move. And moving doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require knowing all the answers. It starts small, a glass of water, a walk in the sun, a Kegel rep in the car, a better breakfast, a question asked without fear, a night of sleep fully earned. Each action is a message. I still matter. I still want more. The goal is not to be who you were at 30. The goal is to become the strongest, most vibrant version of who you are now. You don't need to fix everything in a day, but you do need to start. Because the sooner you act, the more options you have. And the more you understand what's happening in your body, the less power fear has over you. So talk to someone. Ask the questions. Be curious. You deserve answers that respect your age, your experience, and your desire for full, vibrant living. And if this video gave you clarity, hope, or even just a bit of peace, let us know. Drop a comment and tell us how old you are, or where in the country you're watching from. You're part of a community here, and your voice might help another man feel less alone. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more straight talk about health, aging, and living well. No gimmicks, no shame, just truth, support, and real tools for real men, because you don't need to suffer in silence. You don't need to feel broken. You are still capable, still worthy, still alive. And your story? It's not over, not even close.